We've got Fujii Kaze. It's a brand new video. Well, not brand new. It's from 2 days ago. Sorry, I'm a little slow these days. We got Fujii. We got the Kaze. Shall we? Let's do it.
It's a time pass. Sooner or later, better know that everything is gonna be alright. It's 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 alright.
Nice. Good ending. I always enjoy Kaze. I enjoy the very frequent messaging that Kaze has. Regardless of what messaging he's trying to get across, whether it's something super deep or something that's sweet or just peaceful, I think he does a great job of putting that message out. Like whether it's the visuals, the sound of the song, lyrically is good. But one of my favorite things is that he just has one of those voices that just feels warm. Something about his voice, I don't know if it's just that it's very familiar to me or it's kind of unique, but there's something about it that's very warm, and I do love that. Now, as far as this song goes, all the elevation, I love that look. That little smug look on that face is great. Yep. Now, I did have a moment here when I saw the swans, okay? Some of you are not super familiar with swans. When I saw this shot, I knew immediately they weren't real, okay? A lot of you probably assumed that. Probably you didn't think twice. You thought they're trained swans, okay? Right about here, I thought about pausing and saying, you know how I know these swans aren't real? They're not wrecking his life. Like, not just poking his eyes out, being feathered space buttholes, but they're not like taking pictures of him and posting on MySpace and tagging him. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, there was a very subtle giveaway that they were fake, which most of you probably picked up on. Which was this. You kind of have to look close, but it's there. Yin and yang, yes. Good pickup. I mean, the neck here, the Kaze neck is very fake. Obvi. Hi, YouTube. So I'll tell you some of the stuff that I think is kind of interesting real quick. And I'll tell you, I gather this from the stuff that we've seen of his. If I had to guess where Kaze stands on the faith aspect, the belief system aspect, if I had to guess, I would say he is very... I think he leans towards the universal aspect of the universe being the deity, right? Not just like one God necessarily, like a figure, but there's an energy, there is a universe. Now, I could be wrong. I could be way off. I'm just saying what I interpret based on his messaging is probably closer to that. And he even does kind of say here, I mean, I'm not giving up the ghost. I'm just really saying a bunch of words, but he says God is inside us. God is within us. Now that can be true if you're talking about, like, if you believe in this God or this God or this God or this version of this God, like, it can go any way. If you don't believe in God, if you believe in the universe, if you believe in all of the things, right? That statement of God is within us can be true, regardless of how you frame it. And I think with this, I like that this imagery here of them underground, like he has the roots here. Even the lyrics of Mother Earth is my beloved child, Father, Son is my very eyes. These lines could be from the perspective of God. They could be from the perspective of us as humans, children of said God. It works in any capacity, I think. Oh, this is so gorgeous. Did anybody else think bonsai tree when we saw the hair here? I know there's one here also, but still. That is such a cool shot. We've got the butterflies in the jar. He pulls them out, lifting up the hair. What a nice touch. Yeah.
Sooner or later, better know that everything is gonna be alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright.
Now, do we think that maybe this is representative of us in our earthen bodies as vessels? And then potentially this here is more of the celestial aspect, the heavenly aspect, you know? All open to interpretation, of course.
It's alright. It's alright.
so much. This was my favorite part of the song right here. Look at that lush, beautiful, and see, here's what's, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna go on a limb here. I feel like this shot, there's a million ways we could interpret this. This could be the statue of a former deity, or a statue of a deity that was once worshipped and no longer is. Okay, could be that. It could be this is the symbol of a society that is no longer at all. And yet this is the newly born world. Could be that. It could be that without this, regardless of what you put in this box as what it represents, that when things are simple and natural, they are more pure, they are cleaner, they are more real, if that makes sense. Yeah, Moonlight, I want to say, I remember somebody talking, because I think he had a song called Perma, or there was Perma in something that we kind of deep dived of his. I can't remember what it was, but it was something like his, the one that I always think of, aside from Shinanoga Iwa of his, which is my favorite of his, was Hana. And it was about death and rebirth, and it was just so beautiful. So, yeah, very, very nice. Let's see here. See, that's kind of interesting. Let's see if this continues to travel here. So let's real quick just hit this. This beginning of the scene will then trickle down to the previous. The earth laughs in flowers. I really love that. All right, so we get the tears here. Which then trickle down to this. And then trickle down to this. So here's what's kind of interesting. I'm gonna theorize something. Let's say this part right here represents us now on Earth, okay? If this, and this trickles down to us, let's say, we got to go back, it trickles down from here. Let's say this is the top tier right here. I mean, there might be one more, but for the sake of this is top tier. The tiers trickle down to what we generally consider as like top tier, which is heaven. And then that trickles down, right? So what I think is interesting is it could be interpreted that this heaven that we normally assume is like, it's heaven, right? There's one more level above that heaven, and I'm using this extremely loosely, heaven, that's more of a pure representation of us where we are now. Now think about how deep that goes. That's extremely meta. So it's not as simple as we're here and we're just existing. And then there's heaven, which is perfect, depending on what you believe. This is going one step further and going that there's one level above heaven. And the real difference is that it's closer to us where we are now than this, like, ethereal kind of, I don't want to say magical, but abstract. You know what I mean? Like, this is the spiritual realm, the spiritual plane. This is the all-knowing, right? And then this is us in the physical plane. And there's all kinds of theories. There's all kinds of different ways people think about it, right? But I do think that's, and that feels very, very Kaze to me. And how I would interpret this, if I were really, and I am, diving into this, I would almost take this as, let me get to it. This is not the goal. This is support. This is like, we have this access to spiritual realm, if you will. But this is the goal. And this is closer to reaching to where we are now. It's just some different decisions, right? It almost seems more accessible in a way. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I could really twist this in a lot of ways, but as always, it comes down to interpretation and taking this and kind of getting what you think is the message that makes sense to you. Actual heaven versus our idolized heaven. Yeah, I feel like that could be a piece of it. Yeah. If the old God, old society is higher than his beautiful Kame God, you've got to wonder what God society must. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Deeply influenced by Indian spirituality and Hindu philosophy, often describing India as his spiritual hometown. His work, I stopped reading it. Vegetarian. Sorry. Pizza. Sorry. Yep. Spiritual reflection. That's it right there. 2 words. Bingo. That feels very Kaze to me. Spiritual reflection. And for everybody on YouTube that's currently typing angrily, you don't have to be a religious person to be spiritual. Take this as the grumpy old man on your screen right now. There's a lot more to it. It just depends on you. That's it. Plain and simple.